Okay, everybody, welcome back to On the Roof. Today we have with us the great Simon Townshend.
Thanks,
Simon,
man.
thank you very much for coming here tonight.
Yeah.
So tell me about you. You started at a very, very young age playing guitar, born into a musical family.
Yeah.
So can you tell us a little bit about what it was like coming up?
Sure. I mean, I grew up in a very musical house. You know, I had my father was a saxophonist. Played reed, fantastic clarinet player, and played with the Squadronaires, who were a big RAF band. Mm-hmm. And my mum was a singer. I mean, they met because my mum was singing and he was in the band, and they met. And I think the musical thing goes back. It goes back further. It goes back to my grandparents, you know. And so it was no surprise when Pete picked up a guitar and myself, you know. It was kind of it was written in the stars. I mean, we had a music room in the house, which was where my dad would always go to the pub and bring all his friends back and show off at how good he was. And a lot of his mates were musicians, like trumpet players. But you know, we had a bass player who was resident in the house. He just used to be there all the time. We had a guy called Jack Honeyborn who used to play with. He still plays with Vera Lynn, who's a famous British Army singer. Yeah, so it sort of stemmed out of that with the party atmosphere and music all the time. That was jazz, you know. That was what we grew up with. And then we had, of course, when The Who got famous, I was like 3 years old when they had their first big hit. I was probably in the womb when they started, but you know, when they had their first big hit, I was. That was it for me, you know. I had a famous brother. I was on TV all the time, so all I wanted to do was stand there doing windmills. And I used to have a tennis racket, leaping up and down on the bed, listening to all the hits. And I used to go and buy the singles, you know, sixpence each or whatever. I used to collect records and have my own record player. And Pete always bought me instruments because he could see that I was deeply into music from a young age. And I was writing words when I was about 6.
Wow.
For songs, silly things, but you know, I remember them now, you know. And then when I was 8, I started to play guitar. When I was 10, I took up piano. And then I went back to guitar when I was about 12. And that all mixed in with my love for football, because I used to love football.
Yeah.
As soccer, you know.
Right.
So you know, it was great. It was a very musical house, very musical upbringing, and one that, you know, it sort of led me to where I am today. You know, I was singing on Tommy. I was singing on Smash the Mirror. You know, when I was playing in the lifts at the studio until about 1 o'clock in the morning, and I don't even remember what studio it was, but Pete had taken me there with my brother Paul, who's 4 years older than me. Right. And we were just sort of tripping on the fact that we were seeing Pete because we hardly saw him. So we were in the lifts going up and down, and then all of a sudden about 1 o'clock we got called into the studio to sing backing vocals, which was the first time I'd heard my own voice in headphones.
What was that like?
Well, it was surreal because, you know, 1 minute we were messing around playing, and then all of a sudden we were in front of a microphone. I mean, I guess Paul, being 12 at the time, was, you know, more in tune with what was going on. For me, it was all very sort of odd. Speedy Keen was there, remember that? The drummer from Thunderclap Newman?
No.
He was in the studio, and of course Kit Lambert was there, Chris Stamp, they were in the booth. And I just could see this glass, I could see the outlines of people, I was told what they wanted, and you know, as soon as I heard my voice, at first it was kind of weird and hard to tune and pitch, but I got it pretty quick, how to pitch. And then before long, Pete had me back in the studio doing other stuff, you know, for the film, for Tommy. because he knew I could harmonise with myself and hear tuning really well. I've almost got perfect pitch, but...
Because you could, at that age, have no idea of the magnitude of the piece you're working on, right?
Oh, no, I didn't have a clue.
Yeah.
Didn't have a clue.
Profound. Tommy was wild.
Yeah, no, I didn't hear any of the music. I just heard the rise, 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 rise. The boys, Pete and Keith and John, couldn't reach.
Right.
So I just could reach those notes because my voice hadn't broken. But I didn't know what I was singing on. I didn't realise it was going to be such a successful record.
Right.
I was at school when I heard, I think I was at school, yeah. I think it was, I was at school listening because the guys in the janitors who look after the school had a little shed and they had a radio, and I remember listening round the corner hearing this record, Pinball Wizard, thinking how wonderful it sounded. And I hope that's my brother. I hope that's my brother. And yeah, sort of life-changing moment really. I remember going home and my dad saying, "Your brother's a millionaire." I was like, yeah.
Yeah. Now, it wasn't long after that you actually wrote your own song, right? Was it I Am a Man?
When I'm a Man. I
Right.
wrote that when I was really young.
Yeah.
I don't know if I recorded it straight away. I wrote it when I was about 11.
Wow.
I started writing, and yeah, that and I Wonder Who She'll Be, the B-side, about the girl that I marry. Oh, cute, isn't it? But when I'm a Man, I'm glad that wasn't a big hit, you know, because it would have been a different life for me, I think, if I'd got a big hit record at that age.
Yeah.
You know, it was Donny Osmond and people like that. And the record company saw the potential and they tried to push me down that road, but I kind of resisted in some way. Right. You know, the process of making a record is so long that by the time it came out, I was 13, I think. Right. You know, and I'd sort of gone through the phase of singing about When I'm a Man, and I was starting to hear a whole new level of music. I was listening to Genesis and Yes by that age. And, you know, so I progressed quite a bit. So, you know, that music came out so much in you know, how quickly you grow as well, and that time in your life. So it was a difficult time for me, really, because I had the contract. In the end, I got Pete's manager, Bill Kirbishley, came and helped me get out of the contract.
So then, what kind of an impact did Pete have on your songwriting? Did you know back then how prolific of a songwriter he was, that maybe that's the way to go, I got to do my thing?
I used to have a guitar teacher, not like, you know, he used to turn up and I'd be out in the street kicking a ball around, but the thing about learning scales and all that, he used to give me the scales, and I wasn't really of that sort of, I wasn't into that at all. I've never really been a muso for the sake of being a musician. It's always been about writing. It's always been about that. And my father used to say to me, because my dad being such an accomplished musician, I think back to how it must have been. You know, he was in a field of music that was sort of, they didn't get paid very much. They worked incredibly hard. Right. They were always touring, you know, and you know, big band stuff. There's sight reading. They're given sheet music to learn in an hour, you know, so they learn it really quickly and then they're playing it. In those days, television broadcasts that they had were done on a live basis, so it was everything had to be recorded all the time live, so they couldn't use recordings. So that's how musicians survived, and it wasn't easy, you know, unless you were an exception. You know, you were in a band, it wasn't easy. And then came along rock and roll, where my brother sort of played 3 chords, smashed the guitar, and made millions. And so I think my dad was like, he was probably dumbfounded by it all, you know. And he used to just say to me, you just keep writing, write. And that was his advice to me. And I was doing that anyway, but he could see that. So he just used to say, to try and develop that part of what I was up to, you know. And I also think he could see that I wasn't that bothered about learning the technique and the technical stuff. you know, just
Right.
really wasn't into it at all. I always think there's a big difference between an artist and a musician. You know, an artist doesn't give a damn about all the sort of technical stuff. It's much more about words, about what you mean, what you want to say. And I'm an artist, you know, I always have been.
The feel. It's about the feel that you know, project from other people, right? How you, I know that when I'm listening, that's how you make me feel.
Yeah.
It's what it's all about. Yeah. But now, what kind of an effect did, you know, being so close to a band that was so big, and you're watching from inside the bubble, what kind of an effect did your brother and Roger have on your music?
Well, they didn't really have a great deal of effect on my music. I mean, my music's quite different to the Who, I think. I mean, there's now and again I sort of touch their style, but really I have my own style. I was listening to singer-songwriters when I was, you know, by the time I was 14, that was where my heart was. People like, you know, I used to love the American musicians like James Taylor and Stevie Wonder, but I also used to listen to, as I said, when I was younger, really technical music, you know, so I was into a broad spectrum of stuff. The Who were just another great band to me that I listened to, you know. But I don't think you can compare my music to them, which is, that's why I wonder when some people say that to me, I wonder if it's my voice more, that, because I can't get away from the fact my voice has those tones, those Townshend tones. Yeah,
well, I mean, you know, and also you're with the Who now, so there's going to be a certain correlation, but your solo performances are absolutely your own. I mean, it's clear as day. Sure. To watch the way your brother's band performed, and then you say the professionalism that you learned from your father, did that combined effect make, you know, how much of a part did that play to who you became as a musician?
I mean, I saw the Who play live 36 times with Keith Moon. I used to count.
Well, that had to have an effect on you.
It probably did, yeah. I mean, I used to go there more to see what would get smashed and whether anyone would get hurt. You know, it was always more about that. I loved Roger as well. Roger was always like, you know, Pete. I never saw Pete at Who shows. I would go along. I wouldn't even have a backstage pass. I used to have to beg my way in because I don't think they wanted me there. They didn't want me to be around the way they were living. I was 15 years younger than Pete, you know, so I never, ever in my whole time when I was going to see them had a pass left on the door or ever entered their dressing room, not once, ever. And I would think that Pete used to say to you know, keep him away, keep him out.
Save his soul.
Yeah, but Roger, you know, being much more clean living guy that he is today and was then, used to sort of look after me and you know, I would go to see Roger more than Pete at times because I never used to see Pete at the shows. You know, which I totally understand. I mean, he was working, and these guys, you know, I do now. I didn't then.
Right.
I didn't understand so much then, but.
From that point on, now you went and you started making your own albums. Were you over here, right, for a while?
Yeah. Well, I guess I started out. I was doing it, as I say. I went through the phase of singer-songwriters. That's what I was really focusing on. You know, I was writing songs and playing piano, and then came the next phase for me was sort of punk era came along, and that changed sort of everything, the new wave punk.
So we're talking like late 70s?
Mid to late 70s, 76, 77, around then, you know, it was all happening around me where I was in West London. So that was a definitive change. I went back from piano to guitar. I started to write much more aggressive music. I formed a band with Tony Butler and Mark Bozicki, who at the time, actually, you know, we had a band a little bit sooner, but Mark came along, and then, you know, we formed our band on the air, and we went from there. We were doing like that was it for quite a few years on the air playing music together.
That was more from
it was probably,
Big Country?
Yeah,
right.
Both of them from Big Country. We went on tour with the Skids. We supported them. So that's how they met Stuart Adamson, not Bruce Watson I'm thinking of, but Stuart Adamson was in the Skids, second guitar player. So we all met then. And it just progressed. I was writing a lot more stuff and building a repertoire. Eventually we split up. We put out a couple of singles in England that didn't break. We split up. Those guys, having known Stuart, formed Big Country, and I went off and did a solo album. And I was kind of preparing for this album that I knew was going to happen. And Pete was going to do a production for the Pretenders. And then the bass player died. So it threw everything out. And so he had free time, he had everything ready to produce a band. And so he said, asked me if he wanted me to produce, he would produce a record for me. And I jumped on the chance because it really was a great thing for me to work with Pete and to be in the studio with him.
And is that the first time you guys collaborated, kind of? Wow, so that must have been great.
It was fabulous, great times. And that's when I did I'm the Answer and Sweet Sound. And he put me into a studio. He had a little room in Broadwick Street in Soho, and he just put me in there for like 3 months and said, you know, get some demos recorded of your best songs. Of course, I'd had a long time to build up material.
Right.
So I had a really strong set of songs. And it just sort of grew out of that.
But did you come to New York then for a while?
Yeah, we came over to New York. It was an American deal.
Okay.
A company called 21 Records.
Right.
A guy called Freddie Hine, who's passed away now, but he signed The Who, I think, originally. He was one of the people in signing The Who way back. And yeah, so he put me out on 21 Records, which was Polygram at the time. And Pete came over, we did a promo together.
That's great.
Yeah.
So now
times.
At that point, are you saying, yeah, I'm on my way, I'm getting it, I'm in?
Yeah, well, you know, I got to 75 with a bullet, and then the record company, I got a phone call from my manager saying, do I want to invest all the money I've made back into promotion of the record? Which in those days, you know, it was so payola driven.
Totally.
And they just basically used to pay for airplay with cocaine, I guess, or how... I think that's the story. I mean, they all I do know is they were asking me if I wanted to invest my own money into my promotion, and I didn't end up doing that, and the album kind of stopped there because that's how the business was, you know.
The independent promoters, right? That was that's how you got played.
Yeah. So it was. It's a shame because that was a really great record. The next one I wasn't so pleased with. Again, you know, we spent a lot of time recording and over here in New York, but the producer turned out to sort of be a bit of a letdown in the end for similar reasons. He was running backwards and forwards from the toilet, and I didn't realise. I was blind to it until about 2 weeks from the end of this long process of recording, and it was very upsetting, really, because he kind of overproduced everything and made it far too, I don't know what the word is. It wasn't raw enough for me anyway.
Right. Well, how much has the music business changed from then till now? I mean, it's like a 180.
I don't know. I was in my early 20s then, you know, so my naivety was my zest for life, you know, and I won't take any of it back, and I really enjoyed the times I had. I always had a band around me at that time, so we had a lot of fun, you know, and we had great times here in New York. Right. It was amazing.
What is your biggest takeaway from those times? Like when you say, you know, looking back at that era of your life, what's like the thing that you're most grateful for?
The chance, the opportunity, you know. I think it's to be like you know, it's great what I'm doing now. I'm successful to the point where I can go and do club gigs and then I'm stepping on stage with one of the big bands of the world, The Who, you know. But it does take to sort of go and reach the heights of your Elton Johns and your Mick Jaggers. I think you've got to have a certain amount of. You've got to be willing to step on people. You've got to be willing to be pretty mean.
Yeah.
And I was never that person. I was always kind of really easygoing, and I couldn't push someone out of the way in order to step myself forward. It's one of those. It's just part of my makeup, and I you know, also I'm very happy with where I am. You know, whether I want to be, you know, under the pressure of being out in the limelight all the time, or not being able to walk down the street for people running up and wanting photographs. I mean, I find that quite hard.
Yeah.
I certainly find that after the Who shows, I'm always, and after my own shows, I have queues of people wanting to do photos. And so, it's, you know, I think I've got it in a nice place right now. You know, I come out and I do shows and I do get on the road and I can live that life, but I can also have a private life.
It's funny you say that too, because I think you're one of the most accessible guys in the whole industry.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, without a doubt.
I am, yeah, but you know, it does stop when I go home. I don't take it. I don't take it with me.
Yeah. As you started to produce more of your own solo work, you started to, you know, put your own albums out and tour. And now you're one of the hardest working guys in the business, would you say?
I'm one of them.
Yeah. You constantly got gigs, always.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I do like to play. I mean, especially, I mean, you know, I love playing in The Who. It's a real honour. I've been doing it since '96 was my first gig in Hyde Park in London. And then we did the Quadrophenia tour in 97, 98.
Right.
And then I was out of The Who for a couple of years, and then I got called back in 2002, which when John died was the opening night of our tour. John Entwistle, the bass player, died, and so it was like again, I thought it was all going to fall through the floor at that point. But I think they all decided to go on because Pino Palladino was available to come and step in, and you know, it's been a great ride from then, and I'm very lucky, you know, to be part of that. It's a wonderful opportunity, but it always will come down to me and my music. It's my music that I live with and that goes through my head, and it's the expression and lyrics that I want to put across that are really important to me.
Sure, yeah.
So I've kind of got the best of both worlds, really.
Yeah, I
in
think
that
so.
respect. I'm able to go out and play classic rock music with The Who and then do my own thing.
Yeah.
So,
and you have such a great and loyal following.
yeah.
I mean, Joe's Pub would not be Joe's Pub without you.
Yeah, no,
Well,
it's
you know.
really fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah. Joe's Pub, it's actually an amazing venue, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah, I really enjoyed playing there. Yeah, I've got a great following in New York. I've got a great following in Boston and different areas around America. I'm not so well known on the West Coast. I've been over there a bit less, but we're building on that.
Right.
So, you know, it's all really good at the moment.
Yeah, yeah. Your latest album was Denial.
Yeah.
A very introspective piece, right, that you said came kind of quickly to you.
Well, it came through I always write about what I know, kind of, that's the way it's been with me.
Yeah, yeah.
So, you know, my family were going through a lot of hard times, you know, not only my family, but my brother Paul, his family. And of course I've grown up with it. My mother had her problems, was drinking a lot through our earlier childhood, but became clean for about 12 years, or even possibly longer than that, until she got Alzheimer's and forgot. She forgot that she was not supposed to drink, and we had our house in Christmas. I said this last night. I caught her walking up the hall with a pint glass full of red wine. And I said, "Mum, you don't drink." You don't drink. It's like, oh, okay. But you know, this is something that it runs through the family, through the bloodline. Both my brothers, my daughter, me. You know, we're all kind of addicts, and you have to keep that under control. You have to watch that, and you know, doing the 12-step program is the answer, which is what all my family have done. That, all apart from me, I haven't done that yet. But, so yeah, denial came out of that. It came out of real life pain that was happening around us. You know, all during this period, my son, Ben, who's an amazing drummer who played on Among Us in the 90s, one of my albums, incredible musician, he lost a child as well, one of two twins. So that again, you know, that on top of everything else, it was probably the hardest time in my wife and our lives. You know, we've been together since I was 17. So you know, that was the hardest part.
What is your process when you're writing about something as personal as these things?
Well,
you know,
I don't like to talk about other people's problems too much, but when it comes to writing lyrics, I just spill it all out. So if you listen to the albums, you'll hear the
it's
truth.
out there.
It's all there, yeah. Yeah, it was a particularly hard time, but because of that, I wrote an album in probably 3 months. I wrote
brilliant
album. All the songs, and they just flood out of you. They say the best work is written in pain, and I've heard this a lot, you know.
Yeah.
And it certainly applied to me there. I just sort of, the songs wrote themselves. I was so keen to get them recorded and get them heard that I just worked and worked and worked. And, you know, God forbid anything like that ever happens in my life again. But then you think, God, something's got to happen because I can't write at the moment.
Yeah.
I'm really sort of struggling in that area.
Do you feel even more intimate when you just take an acoustic guitar in front of an audience and you know, deliver that album?
Yeah, I do actually. I mean, I did a gig recently in London with my band over there, and it was really good to do. It's a lot of fun, and it's loud, and it's powerful, and you know, it's something that I love doing that. But when I have just a guitar, I can deliver the songs, and I can control how I deliver them a bit easier.
Yeah.
I do like that. I'm doing this one man and his guitar thing, which I've been doing this year.
Yeah.
And it really does work for me. I still want to go out with the band though. I'd love to get a band over here. I haven't had a band over here since the late 90s.
Your band doing your stuff, yeah.
So that's probably next. That's probably what, with a band, you know, you've got the magic of the best bands is, and I will put the Who in there because they had that magical ability to know when to take off and when to come down and land again, and it's the dynamic of the curve that makes it so powerful when it does hit you again. Now, obviously, when you're controlling an acoustic guitar, that's in your control. But with a band, they have to have that understanding, and I think that all the best bands have that. But that's a craft.
Yeah.
Real craft.
And what about the alchemy of getting the right people on board, like forming that band when it's right, the chemistry is just right.
Well,
you know,
that's the magic of the bands that have become household names. I mean, if you listen to the Rolling Stones, their music's kind of messy at times.
Right.
The way it's recorded, it's kind of loose and messy, but that is sort of the magic.
Yeah.
And nowadays they auto-correct everything. Anything that's out of time, they put in time. Everything that's out of tune, they put in tune. It really is a computerized approach to producing creating an end result.
Right.
So if you're going to do that, what you're actually doing is you're reshaping the whole thing and turning it into a robotic performance of the people that are involved. So it kind of, this becomes pointless. You might as well just use loops or samples or whatever.
Right.
You know, back in the day, you had a bit of tape, you recorded, and you would take the best version of the recordings, the performance of the band. You'd take the best version, wouldn't you? And the looseness was all part of it. If there were wrong notes, they used to try and fix them by dropping you in.
Right.
And you know, they just hit the chord and let you play for a bit, and then come out and hope that they didn't have any dropouts or noises.
Right.
But that was as far as they'd go. And I think that was what made it work.
Do you think that music today is that compromised, like,
Yeah,
because of that?
It is.
Disturbingly so?
Everything starts at the same speed as it ends because everyone's using click tracks.
Yeah.
There's no natural speeding up. If I'm playing an acoustic guitar song, it's pretty likely that I'm going to start it in one tempo and end it in another. It's very unlikely that I'm going to be exactly the same tempo.
Right.
It's probably more likely that I'm going to speed up as the song goes through, because as you approach the finish line of the song, you sort of, intensity is increasing and the speed's increasing, and that's what's increasing the heart rate and the atmosphere, and everyone's building with it.
Right.
And I suppose then for a band like The Who, it's all the understanding of when they're going to suddenly bring it back down again.
Yeah.
You know, so those moments of emotion, when you start to put everything into the bar line of tempo, you've taken that whole thing, whole emotional aspect away. It's gone.
Yeah.
So you've still got great songs. I mean, I'm not. We're talking about the performance of songs, really.
Yeah.
There's still great songs out there. People are still writing fantastic songs today, but it's the way that it's recorded that's changed.
Also, amongst the peers, when you're at a certain level and you've attained a certain level of musicianship among your peers, you're holding yourself to a certain line. When the line is no longer there for anybody to hold themselves to, because basically it's okay to use auto-tune and this stuff like that. It's acceptable. Mm. You know, so there's no push for you to be a true artist.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with that. You know, I must admit, I've tried auto-tune on a couple of things. If you've got a performance of a vocal and there's one note that's out of tune, you know, you can just grab the note, put it onto a new track with a tuner, and it will literally make it right. I could do the same thing. I could sing it again, but that's kind of like, that's okay. That's not taking it to the extremes of putting the whole vocal track through a tuner, or putting the whole recording of of what you're doing through a beat detective, which auto corrects all your timing.
Right.
You know, there's an acceptability in it in the process that I think is okay.
Yeah.
But it's.
And it never gets lost on an audience too. When you're doing it live and you just that feel is there. That doesn't always happen like it used to as much.
Probably not.
Yeah.
I don't think there's as many people playing now.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of people using you know, loops and stuff that you can make a lot of money by sitting recording guitar licks now and just putting it onto disc and selling it to people that can't play, and they fly it into their tracks and stuff. And there's a lot of that going on. I still think the creative process is great. It's the same. People are still writing good words and songs, but it's how it's recorded and how it's produced now that's changed drastically. And I think it puts a lot of pressure on people that have to go out and perform, because they're then exposed for what they really are. Yeah. And also. You know, you find a lot of the shows that you go to are now PAs where they're just singing along to backing tracks. Right. And, you know, The Who have used backing tracks for years, haven't they, with Won't Get Fooled Again and stuff, but it's different. it's not, it's just it's a small part of a bigger picture. Whereas now it's the bigger picture. It's the whole lot.
You guys have earned the right to take certain liberties, wouldn't you say?
Yeah.
I mean, the dues have been paid time and time over,
yeah,
you know, so, you know.
But at the same time, you know, if people want to go on a journey when they see a band live, then it's got to be live. 'Cause you won't be going on any journey if you're just going to listen to a backing track with someone singing along.
Who do you listen to? Like, who's on your playlist?
I don't listen to anything.
Nothing. Nobody.
I just listen to me.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah,
that's a good playlist. You're on my playlist too, so that's good.
No, I mean, today, what have I listened to? I listened to Tumbling Dice and Miss You by the Stones. And I've listened to Long Live Rock by The Who, because I want to learn some words. What else have I listened to? Back in the USSR. I love that song. So yeah, classic stuff I'm listening to. As far as like new stuff, to be honest, I don't listen to too much.
Has anybody caught your ear?
Not Adele. Let me think. Who's caught my ear? No one, no.
All right, so then do you write at all when you're on the road?
I try. I do try.
And what's that process?
It's hard because songs stick in your mind. So I'm playing Pete's songs every night, so I have a lot of his music in my head.
Right.
A lot of the time. It takes a few days after you get home for it to dissipate and then clear your mind a bit. But yeah, I can write on the road. I have done it. I wrote a song called Bare Essence on the road when I was touring with British Rock Symphony, and that's a really important song I've got. Yeah, so it can happen. Still Love as well. I was going to play a bit of it later.
Yeah, I was hoping you'd
I've only got one song I can play on that guitar. Okay. But yeah, I wrote that on the road as well. So yeah, I do write occasionally on the road. If anything, it would be lyrical ideas that you develop.
Right.
When you get all the other music out of your head.
Right.
Then you can go and take the lyric ideas and form them into a song.
So it's not a certain process that you have for each song. It's each song comes as it comes. Yeah.
Some lyrics, some music, some both.
Right.
Some melodies and words.
What was it like for you when you closed the Olympics? What was that
good
like
fun,
in your hometown, huh?
That was great time. That was very special because it was in London, yeah. Because about 2 years before we'd done the Super Bowl, and that was huge, wasn't it?
Yeah.
The amount of people that see those things live is ridiculous. How can you get that famous, eh?
Yeah.
In one lifetime. Yeah, we did that, but doing the Olympics was really special because it was in London, and we've sort of been building up to it for a long time. All our roads have been painted with these sort of new directions for all the people coming into London, so it was really exciting. And we didn't know we were doing the Olympics till quite close to the time.
Really?
You know? Yeah. Found out quite late in the day, and so it was very exciting, really great. I wore this jacket, actually.
That was the Olympic jacket?
I wore the Olympic
Wow.
jacket.
What an honor that is, huh?
Yeah. That's great.
Yeah. What you also worked on Iron Man?
Yeah.
Psychoderelic, those projects. What did you do there?
I sang 2 songs. I sang Man Machines and a song called Dig. And the version of Dig I did was really cool, but the record company thought it was Roger singing. So,
yeah,
can't win, can you, with record companies?
How does that happen?
I don't know. But they thought it was Roger, and they said to Pete, you know, why don't you get Roger to sing it? So Roger did a vocal instead, and I ended up on Man Machines, which was great. But yeah, it's just another recording session with my brother. You know, I've done quite a lot over the years.
Right.
Going in and
yeah,
they got a great vocal sound that I do remember.
Okay, so you're on you're on. Is this the last leg of the Who at 50? So you keep going?
I
How far does this go?
I'm enjoying myself too much. I hope so. But yeah, according to the plan is, yeah. And we're doing some shows back in England and Spain in the summer. And then possibly something at the end of the year as well.
Right.
But yeah, I suppose they're winding down.
And then you still have as many solo gigs as you do in between there. Is that what you're going to be up to in the near future? Yeah,
well, I've just had my last 2 albums remixed and remastered, and they're going out in the UK because I haven't actually released them in the UK, and I kind of feel I've neglected my own country really. So those are going out over there. I'll do some shows over in England as well. Probably solo acoustic again, and then do more shows when I come back out here. I'm certainly going to do some in May, before the English releases.
Back here in New York?
We're more on the west side.
Okay.
We're going to do LA and stuff.
Great.
Yeah, build it.
You got to get them out. You got to get them onto it, man. Right?
Yeah.
Okay, so now. Is there any new album coming? Are you working on any new songs?
I've got a few new songs. My main focus is to do an acoustic album. I want to take all my best songs and recut them. That's something I've been trying to get sort of done. I've got 2 done with Eddie Vedder singing on them, which is great. So I've got those in the can. So I just need to build it and the problem for me has been getting the right sounds. When you're working on just an acoustic record, it really has to be exceptional, the sound. Whereas if you're just recording an acoustic guitar on a track, it kind of just put a mic in front of it and get a sound. But this is like, it's got to be absolutely perfect. And I'm doing it all from my own studio. You know, I'm doing a studio upgrade as well to help. And hopefully.
And running a record label. How do you do all of this and tour?
Oh, the record label thing's easy. I'm just putting the record out on that, on my own label, being distributed by a company called Right Track in the UK through Universal. So, yeah, you know, I mean, that's pretty easy.
Okay.
Yeah. I've got an accountant.
If you say so. There you go. Yeah, you got somebody in there,
it's
right?
It's good. I mean, this is what I want to do. You know, it's my life.
Right.
So, the process. Yeah, I mean, you're asking me the question. A lot of people ask me, what have you been writing lately? What have you got? And you know, I've got some stuff. I've got some songs finished, 1 or 2 that I'm happy with. Quite a few that I feel I've overworked them to the point that I'm not sure if, you know, if you have to work too hard on a song, then it's like, you get a little bit unsure about it. You know, I'm still working on new material. I don't want anything bad to happen in my life that would make it all right itself. I'm happy at the moment.
Do you feel pressure though to live up to, I mean, Denial was such a personal, heartfelt record. To follow that up,
I do actually.
It's
going to be hard following that.
Yeah.
I mean, I thought Looking Out, Looking In before it as well had a really special thing going on.
Yeah.
They are going to be really difficult to follow, those 2, but Denial especially, because it's such a complete, perfect product. I don't know. I mean, as I said, I'd hate to think that anything would come along and influence me in the way that things had during that period.
Yeah.
But at the same time, where's my inspiration going to come from?
Right.
We'll see.
Yeah, but when you do something as intense as that, right? You seem like a very introspective guy that you go watch and work and almost over analyze the stuff, right?
Maybe.
When do you get to the point that you just say, it's good enough? Or does somebody have to step in and say, Simon, it's great?
Actually, I can make decisions like that, but that's something I had to really work hard at.
Yeah.
You know, to put in a producer's hat on.
How do you do that? I mean, you know, step outside yourself?
What the recording technique these days, I would always start by putting guitar and vocals down, guide tracks. I would never put a click track down. I always create a track to play to, and the, you know, doing that and getting something down is generally what you would do earlier in the day, maybe not in the morning, but like, you know, I go in the afternoon and start working, and you keep working and working, and then you come to a point where you hear it's like dinner time, and you go and have something to eat, and then you go back, and I kind of then put the other hat on and say, well, let's hear what I've done, see what is good, see what I've done that's good, and then I somehow have that way of hearing what's good. I don't know how. I can listen to different takes and say, oh, I like that, I don't like that, push that aside, keep that. Maybe then do some more building on that, you know. But I'm quite good at that. I also, with Denial, the recent mixes that I've just had done, I gave the whole thing to another guy, and I said, you mix it. So the new mixes are all from him, from someone else. So that's another way you go. You do all the work, you do all the recording, and then you give it to somebody else to finish for you. So that's the way I've gone for the UK versions. But I think at the time when I was working on Denial, it was all too precious. I couldn't let go of it. I couldn't give it to anyone else. It was so new and so fresh for me.
Yeah.
And it meant so much to me that I wasn't willing to let anyone do anything to it. Right. It was all too perfect.
Is there one story that just sticks with you, like you say, you know what, my time on the road, this is what I remember?
There's so many. There's so many.
Yeah.
I mean,
I would think anything in your top 100 would be classic.
Yeah. I've got a lot of memories, a lot of great tour memories. I spent a lot of time with Zach Starkey. So we've you know, our stories are 2X rated, we can't tell them, but I don't know, different things. One thing that I've always remember is when I'm playing Won't Get Fooled Again on stage, and I'm like this, play away, just play. And I opened my eyes and Pete was here. Literally his nose was there. It's unbelievable. In front of 15,000 people or whatever. I'm just like this, you know, just open my eyes and he's there. That's the sort of comedy we have, you know, between us. Yeah. It's a great team to be part of, I must say. Yeah. You know, it's not heavy at all. It's not like they're not bosses. Yeah, right. You know, they're just mates and well, Pete's family, but you know, we have a slight father-son thing going on at times because my dad died when I was quite young, 26, so Pete sort of stepped into that role a little bit. But we have a lot of fun as well. Yeah.
I wanted to just mention this thing too, that you guys are with the Teen Cancer, Teen Cancer USA, and you started in the UK first, right?
Yeah, TCT, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, talk about that, because that's a tremendous service you guys are doing there.
We do a lot of that, Teen Cancer Trust in England, but we came over here to do, started Teen Cancer America, and yeah, it's full on. I do signing every night at the shows. Right. You know, like we made $3,000 at the last gig, just selling silly stuff. I've got a load of posters. They sell for $10 each. You know, we sell picks. I don't know what we call them, plectrums. We sell those for $10 each. Yeah. We sell CDs for $30, and you know, so it's a really cool thing. We're making money for people that need it, and I love being part of that. And that's why I do the signing, because I feel that there's something I can do to contribute myself. I'm always there to support Roger when he wants to do any cancer work, because it's Roger, I think, that really drove it initially and really pushed it and pushed it and pushed it, and eventually Pete came on board with the Who, and it's sort of just grown. But but I'll be honest, I've never visited the hospitals. I've been asked a couple of times. I find it really hard to do. Roger's unbelievable. He goes to the wards and he...
Amazing.
But I do meet a lot of people when I'm on, like just the other day, a guy came up to me and he got me to sign a poster and he said, my son's got cancer. And I was like, is it bad? Yeah, it's bad. And you said, my God, it must be unbelievably hard for people. Mm-hmm. And there's a lot of it out there. And the Teen Cancer Trust is about creating environments for teenagers, not because teenagers, they need a different type of attention to a child, if you like, or an adult. They're kind of at that very delicate stage in life where they don't want to be around 12, 11, 10-year-olds. They want to be around teenagers. They're just going through that massive change, and I think that's the key to it. That's why we do what we do, is because we need to create a place for these people in hospitals that's just for them. And
well, you were nice enough to say that you would play us a tune, possibly.
I'll play something for you.
Mother, why should I be afraid? I found my own way, and you know it ain't so brave. Mother, although I'm a fool, in your eyes I need you. Tell me, how did you do? Mother, mother, mother. What more could a young girl do? Mother, I feel so ashamed for the lies and the pain. You know I feel so bad. Mother, mother, I've a family too. Made a life so new, made a dream come true. Mother, 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 I need you. Tell me, what more could a young girl do? One long rainbow came down so low, I could touch it with my hand, blocking the light into my eyes. What a surprise. Here in my heart, you're alive. Sunshine coastline stretches out for miles and miles. I could love it with my hand on golden sand. Nothing is planned. It's life as it stands. Baby, I still love you. Here in my heart, you're alive. You'll always survive. I still love you. Right from the start, you were mine. And after all this time, I know, baby, I still love you. I still need you. I still cry inside, only for a little while, 'cause I miss you, girl. I still love you. Here in my heart, you're alive. You'll always survive. I still love you. Right from the start, you were mine. And after all this time, I know, baby, I still love you. I still need you. I still cry inside, only for a little while. I still love you. I still need you.
Well, Simon, that was absolutely brilliant. I can't thank you enough. This was a great day. For anybody, you want to go see Simon with The Who, they've got many gigs left. And see Simon, I mean, if you can't tell by that song that this is the place to be if Simon's in your town. And
Well, they're not all slow like that, but you know, it's a nylon strung guitar, it's all I have with me. I'm not going to smash it. I refuse.
well, Simon, all his upcoming gigs can be found on his website, which is www.simontownsend.com. So check out the site and you find out what he's got going on, and it's a must see.
Cheers, man.
Thank you. Appreciate everything. You're the man.
One long rainbow came down so low, I could touch it with my